idea of making one of the letter puzzles with like the little holes so you could take out all the letters. So I feel like this has been a huge learning experience, but it's allowed me to really go through and make sense of Cuddle. So it looks, I feel like, really simple, but I'm so proud of myself for like figuring out like how can we possibly make this work.
Back into the
so what we figured out is that this needs 2 layers. The first layer or top layer, I know that scares me every time. The top layer is the one that the letters are going to fit back into, but the problem is that we also need those little finger holes to get them out, but I didn't want to. At first I had those attached to just the letters and it wasn't 2 layers, but then you couldn't tell if the finger holes were cutting into the letters, so then if like the laser went into the letters, like my E would have like a little dip in it. And so I was like, okay, so now we have to create a second layer. So we kind of played around with that idea. But it's still, I was like, well, that's going to get a little too close to the letters, or it's either going to cut into the letters, or it was going to leave part of this yellow piece so that the finger hole actually wasn't even open. And I would have to manually cut out those little slices. And so we kind of talked about this idea of like layering those letters. So what I ended up doing was I individually added in the E, M, M, and Y, and then made it a little less bold for each one. And so this red is going to be cut out just a little bit thicker so that the E will fit in, and then you don't have to worry about. So it will be a little bit loose, but that's almost better for like the little kids. Yeah, so it's not like an exact snug fit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just a little loose. So I'm hoping that will work. But
and you did that by just thickening the line a little bit?
yeah, so I copied each one of these letters and then went through. So actually some of these are a little bit thicker than others because when you play around with the thickness, I tried to do that at first and just layer them, but it wasn't lining up. So I had to do each one individually and then say like, oh, I want to do 600 versus 700. And like play around with it. So like there was so much stuff that I learned along the way, and I was like, and it wasn't until I was playing around with the fonts the other night that I was like, oh, maybe I can find a thicker font. And then I saw that you can adjust the thickness of each font to like the outside red I think was 800, the E and the Y I think were 700, and then the M's were 600. And so I just kind of figured out how to layer it. And then I figured out how to like zoom along the way. So it was all things I was like, I don't know, that's cutting it really, really close. I'm like, does that red really go around that letter? So I feel like I discovered so many other little tools and things later on, which was really, really neat. So I feel a lot more confident about Cuddle, which is really exciting because this was something a couple of days ago. I was like, yeah, like I kind of sort of get it, but I don't know if I could like explain this to my students. And now I'm like, oh, I can totally see how I would use this in my class. So it was really cool. So I'm excited about it. Yeah, so
pieces that they're cutting right now. You couldn't just reuse these, is what you were saying. I was trying to picture that. Now
yes. Yay! All right, so let's see.
Wow, look how crisp and clean it's popping.
And you can use those the other ends for something else.
Yes, use those for something.
So then those are different sizes?
These ones are slightly smaller.
Okay.
Yay! Oh, it's so cute.
It just slips right in.
Slips right in. Oh, that's perfect! Yay! Oh, that's so cute! I love that.